Look at that. We got the sun coming. We got the, barely see that. Yeah, the sun. The Japanese gate in the middle of the frozen pond. I should walk out there. Actually, I did try to a little bit earlier, but it's not frozen. That's solid. And I thought, that would stink to get a weird angle and slide diagonal on the ice or something. Was that apricity, the feeling of the sun in winter? This is, I think, the first video I've done, I don't know in how long. I'm sure all my fans are pretty upset, especially Scott and Brian. Welcome to Frozen, Walden. I don't even know why I decided to do a video this time. Let's see if I can walk through the path without falling. I think it's partly because, it just feels great. It's like probably in the 30s, but it's been like single digits. So it feels like I don't even really need a jacket. But Zindan could use some work. But we're kind of back, figuring out this matrix thing. And it's definitely not all talk, obviously. I mean, I wouldn't have done this entire off-the-grid thing over these last few years if it wasn't, or if it was. Scott, I don't fall, would not be living in the Philippines going on deer tracks. Going on, it'll be, he's been there about a year and a half. And, Brian, in a weird way, Brian was like, no, man, I'm not leaving the Matrix. And then he was forced out of it, kind of like we had talked about before. almost 29 years with the company before they gave him the axe. Got a good severance package, though. I think I'll get wet if I sit there. So I think it was a blessing in disguise. He really, ouch. He, I don't know, he completely, it was almost like he woke up more than any of us, I think. And I think that is, zoom in a little. There you can see the Zindan. Not very good, but. But basically he was kind of forced to. So what's weird is he was just like, all right, I got the RV, it's paid for. You know what? Again, I will be 47. Brian's just turned 51. Scott's 57. He'll be 58. And yeah, Brian was like, hey, I'm going to hit the road. Totally drove across the entire country. He was very economical, sleeping in his vehicle a lot of the time. He's been substitute teaching. He's been, that's raccoon. And Lyft driving. And he's had part of it is because he didn't want to. I don't blame him. He's like, I'm not in that big a hurry to get back out into the matrix, so to speak. So he's just been, I don't know if that's the word, finding himself. But props to him, because I think that, I forgot who said it, but they're basically like most of us die at about 25, because that's when we kind of go on autopilot. We quit actually living, so we just kind of rinse and repeat until we die. And I think that's kind of a good point for us all to remember. So Scott is still, now the tricky thing about it is it's not like Brian's just totally like, dude, this is like heaven and paradise. Everything's perfect. No, I mean, he's still kind of trying to figure that out. And Scott, you're like, oh man, year and a half in Philippines? No, and I joke with him. I'm like, hey, it's kind of weird that, you know, you left America to go to the Philippines and you took America with you. You know, building a big house and some of this stuff that he didn't originally plan on doing, but then all of a sudden, you know, all he did was change geography. But he's trying to kind of, you know, figure that back out. And then the same here. I mean, it's hard to believe. Here's the garden. Just added 8-foot fence this time. Heavy duty electric. I'm going to touch it here in a minute. Just kidding. Down to about, I thought it was going to be like 10 inches, more like 4, all the way up to about 8. And surprisingly, it is, nothing's ran through it. It's been up for, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks. What's really hard to believe is we'll be doing the first round of planting in like 6 weeks from now. Crazy, crazy. But no, it's still so difficult to, let me turn this around. I think everybody'd rather see me anyway. That's working. Yeah, it's getting weird on the turn it around instead of doing the loop. Anyway, who cares? People would rather see me than this beautiful sunset and snow on the ground, I'm sure. But no, I think that it's still interesting. Just you know, me being 46 and a half, well, 40, more like 46 and 2/3, one of the older ones in the corporate world, still plugging along. But yeah, it's weird, and that's the thing that we're still kind of figuring out, and slowly but surely, you know, Scott had second guesses. He was like, you know what, I think I'm going to come back to the States, but I'm going to keep the house in the Philippines. I need to make some more money. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So obviously, you know, for all of us, it's very difficult to get out of that mindset of just go, go, go. That's been instilled in us, literally. Go to elementary school. Dude, you got to hurry up and get to middle school. You got to get good grades. High school. Okay, great. Go to college. Okay, you got to get a job, dude. Or you married? Where's your kids? Hurry up. You're retired. Well, you got to get on a trip or something. Keep working. What about your kids? You need to support them forever. And then all of a sudden, oh, wait, you died. So it is very difficult for anyone to kind of detox from that. But that's about it. I just thought, you know, I'm going to ramble, mostly because it's snow and I'm talking to myself. But no, I think that's really, it kind of goes back to that, that old parable, whatever it's called, where, you know, the fisherman is like, catches one really good fish, lives good, and then the banker comes by and is like, dude, this is an awesome fish. Did you think about like catching a lot more and selling them? And he's like, well, not really. Well, what do you do all day? I just enjoy life, relax. Well, you ought to like catch a bunch more, and then you can enjoy it that much more. So he's like, oh, that's a good point. Anyway, long story short, he just keeps going to the point where he's got like an entire fishing village working for him. And switch that back. There's the off the grid. And I had to take a 4-wheeler over here. I didn't trust taking a vehicle. But no, anyway, long story short, he was miserable. And he's like, man, I wish you'd have left me alone. I would have just enjoyed my life. Well, I think that's the same crapshoot we all get into. And I know it's like stating the obvious, but what should be obvious but is not, is that we can all get out of it. I mean, if you think about it, my house in the city, tons nicer. But it's interesting that even that little 2-story building, like I said, I mean, it's more than nice enough to live in. And I think what really kind of, I don't know, more than sitting behind a desk is like doing it yourself, you know, like the fact that, whoops, that's kind of messy, but I've been straightening things up. But no, I mean, a person could live in that. And then, you know, it's, you know, people are like, they think they have to have so much more, but then it's never free, you know. But just, you know, even though we kind of botched up the cement, being able to, you know, say me and a buddy did the gazebo ourselves, to say that I've literally touched every single board in this building. And somebody could say, well, it's not that nice though. Well, that's fine. There's just something about, you know, I don't know, testing yourself to see if you could do it yourself. Hello? Oh, that's fitting. Mad Men. And again, dude, you could say, well, you know, fire, that's kind of ghetto. What we got here? Oh, I added this the backdrop instead of seeing the garage door on the propane. Oh, so there we go. Person could say, well, that's kind of ghetto. Okay, who cares? But no, adding that backdrop on the garage door, I was like, now it looks more vintage. Now it looks like I got my canned foods and my pots and pans. Now I'm starting the fire. But no, I mean, anybody obviously could be like, hey, you know, these rooms are simple. But the fact of, you know, painting every square inch of this, and also being able to do something, you know, on your own is really, I don't know, rewarding in itself, I guess. The fact that you got the, whoop. Now that the freeze is done, I'm waiting to refill the water buckets. When it overflows, it then flows to this one. There's a couple more back there. Solar panels, the old wind turbine. That little 8 thing is actually a TV antenna. I wasn't even sure if it'd work, but now I'm like, not that I really need TV out here, but hey, now I have like, what is it, like 10, no, it's like 20 something channels. And guess what? 100% free. Of course, you have to mess with the commercials, obviously, but again, we can get by with so much more, so much less than we think we have to have. And then the other kicker that's really, you know, it was difficult for me to kind of think through is you could say, hey, this isn't near as nice as your house in the city. But again, a buddy and me were just talking that now, like, average house in our area, and our area is like urban. I mean, it's not even like super nice, is like a 409. I'm like, $409,000? And that's with a 6.5 to 7% interest rate. Oh, let's see if I can fall down here. But whoop. Oh, almost. Whoa. Whoa. Can always come down here and get water, but I'm like, yeah, that's a pain in the neck. Oh, but no, I mean, it's kind of like, oh, that's a big track. Run into something down here. This video might get interesting in a hurry. Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh, just the fact that I think what we think we want isn't really what we want. I think what we want is freedom. And I think just being able to kind of enjoy life instead of constantly looking for the, the next big thing is what it's halfway about. But the way we've got this thing set up is literally, let me just stop here. Literally is just basically never stopping. I mean, think about Scott. He went to the Philippines and then he was thinking about like coming back here to make some more money. Oh, and it's kind of like, to what end? I mean, I guess you should have just stayed in the States and I could have got him a job at the home office, Mr. Corporate, and he could have started working his way up too. But no, I just think that if you think about the off the grid thing, that was like 30 grand. Okay, it may not be great, but can you imagine somebody saying, hey, I worked for a few years, got that, I'm going to doll it up a little nicer than he had it, and guess what? I'm checking out. I'm going to go run farmers markets. I'm going to, if you don't want to do that, whatever you think, enjoy life. And I think a lot of times we've been beat up to think, no, this is really what I want. I want to just slave away. No, that's just what you've deluded yourself into thinking, I think. But anyway, all this to say, if we give ourselves little habits, like I read one, which was like an old Zen one or something, and it said, make it a point, like on a calendar, go every day for X amount of time, hopefully ever, go and watch the sunset. No phones, no nothing, just sit down, watch the sunset. Okay, same thing with sunrise. Go watch the sunrise. I mean, even just sitting here, isn't it funny that we have to have like this sound of running water or rain? We have to have like our alarm clocks or whatever actually set to that so that we can actually somewhat enjoy and relax at night. But anyway, this was more of a, wow, I haven't done a video. The snow, at least I think, is really nice when it's not 1 degree outside. And thought I'd share it. So again, Scott, Brian, and I, sorry, I have to not fall. Scott, Brian, and I do not even close to have it figured out yet. And again, Brian had to take the plunge because he got canned. I would love to get a severance package, but Scott pulled the ripcord, but then he's been in panic mode ever since. So yeah, we're definitely still kind of figuring this thing out. But enjoy your life, man. We never know how long we got. All right, 18 minutes. I was supposed to stop at 15. Later.